Hello and welcome to the Sherlock Reel. Today we are here and wow, we have a good one. We have a new guy in here, Matt. We have Ted and we have Greg. I'll let them do an introduction now in a moment. But this is what the Sherlock Reel was invented for. We took this concept, the King of the Ring, from wrestling, and now we're doing wrestling in movies. It's all coming together. It all just works. See, it's symmetry. So as you know, I'm Carl Sherlock. To my right, left, whichever way it has on the screen, we have Ted.
Hi all, good guy Ted here from Retrotainment and pretty much a mainstay on this as well.
Pretty much.
So yeah, come check us out on the Dynamo Podcast Network and check out our new show, Retrotainment Recast, which features Carl and Greg. Carl's our reigning champ, but I'm going to beat him in our next one.
Quite possibly. And next up we have Greg, also Retrotainment Recast.
How are we? As Carl said and Ted said, Retrotainment Recast over on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Ted pretty much gave the rundown of the shows. I lost last week in Recast, so
He's not happy.
I'm still a bit bitter about it.
And then finally we have Matt.
Yeah, for myself, I'm actually I'm actually one half host of The Burning Truth, UK heavyweight owner, and also a British wrestler.
Perfect. So it's Matt's debut on the show, so we're going to get you to start off first. We have the first rank number 1 against rank number 32. Okay, so number 1 we have The Wrestler, which casts Ernest the Cat Miller and R-Truth and so on, against Ready to Rumble, which casts WCW, basically.
I will say, Ready to Rumble. At the time, I remember watching it as a kid the first time around, and you wouldn't expect John Cena to be in it as well.
True.
And the fact is, it's just surprising, but I think
it's awful.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. I'm just thinking to myself, how did this get made? And if I'm not mistaken, didn't this lead to a certain terrible moment in wrestling?
Quite possibly. Yes, it did. 100%. Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
I was getting mixed with another one. But yes, it did.
The infamous David Arquette, WCW World Champion.
Yeah.
So
we won't speak about that. Or we don't like to speak about that.
No. For me, The Wrestler.
Perfect. It's one of my favorite films. It'd probably be in my top 10 films of all time. Not just wrestling films. What about yourself, Ted?
Yeah, I think like The Wrestler it's kind of the dark, gritty side of professional wrestling that a lot of people, obviously people who are fans realize that people grind through the indies, but people who just know wrestling from when they were younger and just think, oh yeah, you get into wrestling, you go to WWE or you go to WCW or whatever it was at the time. It's not like that. There's a horrible grind for people to go through, and this does a really good job of showing it. Ready to Rumble was like it's not good, but it's kind of funny, like how bad it is. That's about the best I think I can say for it.
Yeah, have a couple of drinks and watch it, but I mean, you don't go in watching a serious film.
No. Yeah, it's an easy one, really, isn't it? Like, there's a reason that The Wrestler's ranked number 1, and it's because of how good of an actual film it is. And it's based on professional wrestling as well, rather than some of the other films.
True. Is it a clean sweep here, Greg? Please tell me it is.
I can't even give that Ready to Rumble a vote.
No.
Perfect. So The Wrestler goes through nice and easy. So now we actually have an interesting one. It's number 20 up against number 16. And we'll start off with yourself then, Ted. It's The Expendables with Steve Austin against Fast and Furious 6 with The Rock.
I don't really know. Like, Fast and Furious is this when it started to change, really? Is 6 when it really went on its big change?
Fast 5 was the first one with The Rock, and then this one was the second one with The Rock, and it was still when they were good.
Yeah, but this is I think
the one
it
in
was
Brazil.
I don't know which one it is
No,
because
it's
they're
not.
all
I think that's the fifth
insane.
one's in Brazil. The first one, that's the first one with The Rock, I'm pretty sure. Or no, that's the bank heist one. They all run in together.
Yeah,
let's be
exactly.
honest.
See, this is kind of the problem with those Fast and Furious films, that they are enjoyable. You sit down, you watch them, you enjoy them, but yeah, they're very hard to differentiate from
In fairness,
any of the others.
that is the same with the Expendables, though. Let's be honest.
It is, yeah. The Expendables is. That's what I was going to say. The Expendables is kind of the same thing. It's just action, action, action. I'll probably go Fast and Furious 6, but like both of them are as enjoyable as each other. Really, I think neither of them are like, amazing, but
True.
they're both enjoyable.
You'd throw them on again
Yeah.
with a couple. Most of these films, you have to have a couple drinks to really enjoy. Let's be honest. Greg, what about yourself?
I'm gonna go with Doubles. Surely for the cast. Randy Couture.
It is an amazing cast.
Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren. That's everything you wanted to see from an 80s action movie made with amazing effects now.
True.
To an extent.
Very true.
Yeah.
And what about it? You get to perfect. You get the deciding vote there now, Matt. Which way are you going?
I'm gonna go with the Expendables.
Expendables.
I'm gonna go with the Expendables simply because, if I'm not mistaken, in a scene between Austin and Stallone, I believe Stallone almost ended up having a broken neck from one of the fight scenes.
I seem to recall it actually. Yes, he did. Yeah. He did. There was something went wrong.
it goes to show. It goes to show how far he's willing to put his body on the line for a movie.
It also shows why Steve Austin
and now he's making
doesn't do movies anymore. Great. So that's the Expendables gone through to the next round, and next up we have 12 against 24, and it's the Rock face-off because it's Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle against Be Cool. And we'll start off with yourself, Greg.
Welcome to the Jungle. That's the second one, isn't it?
No, technically it's the second one because it's the one with Robin Williams is the first, but this is the first one.
It's the first Rock one, yeah.
Yeah, no. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, that's what I meant, but it was the second one. It is hands down. Well, Jumanji, brilliant. I didn't really like Be Cool. I never got into Jumanji's easy win.
Perfect. That's one for Jumanji. What about yourself,
I don't even
Matt?
need to go any further into this.
I'm going to have to definitely agree with him on this one because Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, it just shows how much of a range of acting for The Rock as well, because he was playing essentially somebody else as him, which was really, really good and interesting at the same time.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I agree. Jumanji was great. I would have voted. And in fairness, let's be honest, Jack Black stole that show, but Ted, is it a clean sweep?
Yeah, it's a clean sweep. I wasn't a big fan of Be Cool, the film Be Cool, but like Welcome to the Jungle, that Jumanji film was incredible. Like a great take on the old film, bringing it forward where it's like, oh, we'll play it as a video game. I just thought that was a great idea for it. So yeah.
Perfect. And I will just say before we move off and Be Cool, The Rock was by far the best thing in that film. He stole the show.
Yeah, but the film itself
wouldn't have been hard.
It's true. That's very true. Next up, we have number 28 against number 8. Now, number 8 is only a cameo, but it definitely deserves to be in here. Number 28 would be Riddick with Batista, and number 8 is Spider-Man with Macho Man Randy Savage. And Matt, you can get us kicked off.
Oh, not an easy one. And I know probably for most people are going to sit there and think, I'm going to aim down the Riddick. I can't turn down the Spider-Man because simply Macho Man. It's Macho Man being Macho Man at his best. in such a way of a character, but incorporating it into such a wonderful character. The camera almost gravitated towards him as he was on the scene.
True. I got you for 3 minutes. Perfect. That's one vote for Spider-Man. What about yourself there, Ted?
Yeah, easy Spider-Man for me. Like I just, even as like an actual film itself, it came out and it was kind of at the start of the superhero kind of franchise
it was
before
the
it
first
became
one,
huge.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Was it? I suppose
Was this or X-Men?
X-Men, no?
I think
Was this or
X-Men.
X-Men, yeah.
I think X-Men might have been before it, but yeah, like it was very early in the start of this, like, you know, superhero film stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually really good. Now some of the continued ones from it weren't great, but the original was brilliant. And the only thing I wish is that there was more of that fight, like in the cage with it. Like I just wish that had gone a bit longer and they'd let
It's true.
Macho Man do more. But other than that, yeah, easy. Riddick's fine, but if I was given a choice which film to watch, it's Spider-Man.
Spider-Man all day long.
Yeah.
I don't like that trilogy. I mean, I watched Pitch Black and I was kind of done from that. I'm not a big Vin Diesel fan, and not even Batista could make me go and see Riddick. I was done after Pitch Black.
I think that's the one that he actually produced himself, isn't it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. And
So,
Greg,
is
is
it
it
all?
a 3-0?
Riddick was dirt. Absolute dirt. Pitch Black was perfect. Chronicles of Riddick was good. Riddick was terrible. Spider-Man was, as Ted said, Spider-Man was brilliant. When it
100%.
came out. So yeah, 3-0.
Perfect. Nice, easy 3-0 there for Spider-Man going to go through. Next up might be a bit difficult for people to vote on if you haven't seen it yet. It's the first time John Cena is coming in here. It's number 5, The Suicide Squad, against number 25 with Kevin Nash in The Punisher. And Ted, we'll start off with yourself.
I haven't seen this new Suicide Squad yet, but
Oh, no.
I know a few people that have seen it and they've all said
It's-
really, really good stuff about it. The Punisher film, it's a bit shit, like, you know.
Oh, it's definitely shit.
I mean, it's a bit shit. Like, the Punisher TV show, like the Netflix show, incredible. The film, just awful. So I'm going to go with the Suicide Squad, even though I haven't seen it, because I can't imagine it being as bad as the Punisher.
Oh, it's not. It's not. And like Kevin Nash's awful Russian accent. Yeah,
I think...
And his big blonde head.
big blonde head. Yep, yep. What about yourself, Greg? Are you going the same way? Please say you are.
Wasn't he wearing a Where's Waldo shirt as well? Little stripy red and white shirt.
He was. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I haven't seen the Suicide Squad. I've seen the Punisher. I remember I thought the Punisher was just a bit of fun when I seen it, and I watched it back there not so long ago. It is awful. So
Travolta
I don't
being
normally
John
vote for
Travolta
things
as
I haven't
well.
seen, but yeah, I don't normally vote for things I haven't seen. But if that was the case, Ted would have voted Punisher. I would have voted Punisher, and that would have been that.
No, the Punisher's not making it a round one.
And Matt, what about yourself? Is it a 3-0?
It's 3-0, believe me, because the fact that in the Punisher you got Kevin Nash being beaten by, if I'm not mistaken, boiling water.
It's been a lot. It's been a while since I've seen
No,
it.
I
It's been a
remember
while.
seeing Yeah, it's boiling water, followed by Rugby tackling him down the stairs to
I remember that
essentially
bit.
end him off. But Suicide Squad, definitely, because John Cena is, how do I say this? He's that captivating, the fact that he's getting his own TV show from that character.
Very true. I know he's very good in it. He's actually, he's very good in the movie. Next up, and we'll start off with yourself, Greg. We have number 21, which stars The Rock in Hobbs and Shaw, up against number 9, which
Number 9.
is
Right there, could be something real shit. Hang on.
Predator, starring Jesse the Body Ventura.
Number 9.
Speaking of Predator, wait, you to tune in there now next week. While it is next week, isn't it, lads? Or is it the week after?
Thursday. No, Thursday this week.
Yeah.
This Thursday on Retrotainment Recast. This is the film that we're going to be recasting. As if Predator was being made today. It's a tough one. It's a very tough one to be doing. We haven't recorded it yet, but I'm dreading it. It's a very hard one to
Welcome
recast.
for that, lad.
So, Greg, which way are you going here? The Rock and Hobbs and Shaw, or Jesse the Body Ventura and Predator?
I've made my feelings known about Hobbs and Shaw in a previous episode. It's definitely Predator. 100%. I'm not even going to delve into it. I'll delve into it more in the next round.
Perfect. What about yourself, Matt?
I know in Hobbs and Shaw, it's not just The Rock in it, is it? It's also got Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns is in it as well, yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that myself and being thoroughly entertained by it.
I liked it.
But
I hate it.
The Predator. The Predator, come on. The fact that you got Jesse Body Ventura, the classic line, I ain't got time to bleed.
Then he ends up with a hole in his chest.
Exactly. Enough said. And it's, it's Jesse Body Ventura, amazing guy, fitted the role perfectly.
Perfect. Predator goes true. Ted, is it a clean sweep? I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, it is. I'm sad that Hobbs and Shaw gets knocked out this early.
Me too.
I actually like
sad.
Hobbs and Shaw. I enjoyed it, and it led to one of the greatest gimmicks in wrestling today. Roman Reigns is, head of the table. That's what that all led
Very
to this.
true.
So I'm really sad to see it get knocked out. But coming up against a monster like Predator, most films are going to get battered by it. So yeah,
it's just unfortunate where it landed on the list, basically.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I thought it would have been higher than number 9.
That's
I'm surprised.
I've taken an aggregate here, and this is where everything has turned out when I was doing up the list. So it's blame other people, not me.
I suppose it drops because Jesse's not in it a whole lot. Like he's not the main focus or anything in it. So
he's probably in it for about 40 minutes, is he?
Yeah, but he's not the main focus, A lot of these other films, the wrestler is the main focus of them, so they probably get ranked up that little bit more because of it.
With
Very
a big
true.
minigun.
And we'll start off with yourself here, Matt, on the next one, and it is another all Rock face-off. It's number 13 in Moana, up against 17 Fast 5.
This one's not an easy one because I'm just trying to remember. Fast 5 is the one where it introduces him, and if I'm not mistaken, it's even got a scene in it where you see Ludacris pretty much lose his drink immediately because of just an off-the-cuff line from The Rock.
I think that's the number 6.
Is it
that
6?
number 6?
That one?
I can't
think
remember.
that's number 6. Yeah, because he only gets to really chase him down at the number 5. He's not there. He's not there. He's not part of the family.
But then again, like we said earlier, the problem with the Fast and Furious, there's that many of them, you can't narrow it down.
Yeah.
And for me,
this is the one in Brazil.
Yeah, I've got to go with Moana simply because of all the gifs and images I've actually been able to use as an alternative for "You're welcome."
That's true. He was great. In fairness, his voice acting in Moana was fantastic. We had to put up with his singing, but it was.
And the work he's done for it, the work he's done for it as well. The fact that he's even. I remember a friend of mine who's actually got a young one. He actually sent a message to him, and he ended up sending a message singing the song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's great.
I've seen it on Instagram where people have stopped them and he'll do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm sure and anyone with kids though are completely sick of hearing all the songs in that film.
Probably.
Ted, what about yourself? Which way are you voting here?
Yeah, I think the problem with the Fast and Furious films is that they do blend in together so much. The ones that don't blend in are the ones like Hobbs and Shaw, where it's not
Completely
part of
different.
that main story, and those actually tend to be the ones I seem to enjoy more because they're not, just they are still the same in that they're just like insane action and stuff, but because they all bleed into each other so much, it's very hard to distinguish one film from the other.
Yeah.
Moana is it's probably the Disney's great. Moana is Disney, isn't it?
It
Or
is,
do I have
yeah.
that wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
Disney, yeah.
probably the best.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the best. I suppose Frozen is probably technically the best one they've released in recent years, but Moana is right up there.
I prefer Moana as a movie than Frozen.
I prefer Moana, but
Yeah,
like
it's definitely not as profitable.
the general consensus would probably be that Frozen is the better film overall, in terms of monetary gain and how much people liked it. But yeah, I think Moana deserves to go through here. He did a great job in this, and the film itself is brilliant. And the
It
fact that
really
his
is.
daughter doesn't believe him that that's him, it just
No,
makes it
yeah,
even
it's
funnier.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if I'm not mistaken, Triple H even did the lip syncing for one of the songs as well on
Did he?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious. Did not see that coming.
yeah,
What about
Stephanie
yourself,
was with him
Greg?
when he did it, wasn't she?
yeah.
This Fast Five probably saved the
Oh,
the
it definitely saved the
franchise.
franchise, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Without Fast 5, we wouldn't be
one
getting the awful films that we're watching now.
Fast 10.
Family.
Like Fast and
Yes.
Furious 1 was brilliant. 2 was okay. And then it went on from there to become terrible. Fast
Yeah.
5 I thought was probably the second best one in the series. But Moana was just I think I tried to watch this with the kids about 20 or 30 times before I actually finished it. And like there was parts of it I hadn't seen, and I'd go out and do something, come back. I'd never seen the bit with the crab. I was like,
Oh,
what?
yeah, that's a lovely bit.
I was sitting there, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah, no, Moana was brilliant. And like I know Fast 5 is out already, so I'll give it to Moana and go 3-0.
Trio. This is a very strange one. I'm not gonna lie. For the first time, we've done seven rounds here so far, and every single time the favorite has gone through. I think that's the first for the Sherlock reel. It
Yeah.
never happens. It never happens. The favorites seem to be winning in every match here, and I think it's going to continue. At least I hope it's going to continue here. We're going to start off with yourself, Ted.
Yep.
And we have MacGruber, rated number 24, which we have Jericho, Kane, MVP, Mark Henry, Kelly, and The Big Show.
A litany.
Up against number 4, and I don't even need to say who's in it. It's Fighting With My Family.
Oh,
Yeah, this is an easy one, really.
Yeah,
isn't
it is.
Like, MacGruber's a bit of a laugh. Fighting With My Family is actually brilliant.
Quality.
I have a few issues with Fighting With My Family.
It doesn't tell the story exact, of course, but I mean,
It's not even that it doesn't tell the story exact. I think my main issue is that they're telling a story of Paige, and instead of just getting Paige's ring gear or copying her ring gear exactly, which you can go and watch, you can see it live. They just made different gear. I was like, why not just make the same gear that she had? I don't understand why you went with different gear. You have the ability. You can just go buy that gear, like you can ask someone to make gear that looks exactly like that and they'll do it. So there's little things like that
Or
that
you
I
just ask
dislike
her
about
for
it. Yeah, you could have
and
just
getting Selena Vega to play AJ Lee as well.
Well, I know why they didn't go towards AJ Lee for that, but they
true.
kind of burnt a few bridges there. But no, it's a great film. Like those things are like nitpicky stuff that I was kind of like, oh, it's a
As
bit
wrestling
annoying they
fans,
didn't
of
do
course,
that.
we're going to nitpick at that type of stuff,
but
But
I went to see this with people who aren't wrestling fans, and they were like, that was actually really good, and I was like, yeah, that was deadly. Like, so.
Oh, my wife loves it. She hates wrestling, but she liked that film. And Florence Pugh was brilliant in it.
Yeah, that film's brilliant, and I'm glad it did so well. So yeah, it's an easy one. Fighting With My Family goes through. MacGruber's a bit of a laugh, but like, that's about it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. What about yourself, Greg?
Yeah, MacGruber, you watch it once, you'll probably never watch it again. Fighting with Family, I've watched 3 or 4 times. Ted actually went with me and my missus to see it.
Mm. I went with somebody else as well.
I thought it was
Yeah.
yeah, I thought
Yeah,
it
no,
was brilliant.
it's great.
Stephen Merchant was brilliant in it as well, and
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn.
And,
Vince Vaughn was pretty good in it.
Vince Vaughn was brilliant, and so was Lena Headey.
Yeah,
The whole cast was very good.
The cameo from The Rock
Yeah.
actually was really good in it as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so funny though, where Vince Vaughn's telling the story of coming off the cage or coming off the ladder, and then The Rock is telling it. And
What about yourself,
he's
Matt?
basically saying he put the Rock over.
It's going to be 3 for 3 simply because I might be a little bit biased because I actually know the actual people who they're portraying as well. I've actually met them. They're actually amazing people as well.
Yeah, lovely people. Yeah.
The family, and genuinely, I've even shared the ring with some of them as well, and been lucky enough. And genuinely, heart goes out to them. I was so happy for them that it did really well, and it wasn't. It's not like you said. It's some of it's been jazzed up a little bit and everything, but it's the movies.
Yeah.
But it's still a great watch. It's one that you can, like you said, you can get non-wrestling fans to watch it and still enjoy it.
Very true. Very true. So nice 3-0 victory for Fighting With My Family. So next up we have, and again, I think the favorite is going through here. Again, I'll be shocked if it doesn't. We'll start off with yourself, Greg. We have number 3 with Batista for Guardians of the Galaxy, up against Kane's number 30, See No Evil. You can tear into See No Evil here if you want. I mean, that is bad. As a resident horror fan here.
Lads, I enjoyed See No Evil.
Yeah, it was okay.
I did.
It wasn't bad. Especially for having him as the main character. Like, I know he doesn't do a whole lot. Like, he doesn't say a whole lot really or anything. But it's not a bad movie. But Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be one of the favorites to win this.
Yeah. Rank number 3.
See No Evil could have went through. See No Evil could have went through against a couple of the movies that have been called out, and probably a couple more that are going to be called out. Like I only text Ted before we came on. I said, "See No Evil, if it gets a good run here, could go well," and then it draws this.
Well, it didn't.
There is no love of the cup here. It's gonna be Guardians of the Galaxy for me.
Yeah, I expected as much. Do you agree there, Matt?
Oh, 100%. Like we said, See No Evil isn't exactly it's not like it's absolutely terrible, because I watched it myself and sort of enjoyed it. And I will say, Kane in that role did really suit it. Just the look of him was absolutely brilliant, and it fitted the role. But Guardians of the Galaxy, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that the one that was meant to be the film that was going to be the bad one
bomb.
in the Marvel?
Yeah,
the bomb, and then ends up being one of the best.
Most people would put Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, in their top 5.
Yeah,
in the MCU. Most people, not everyone. Most people.
Yeah.
I was only reading a thing from Batista there.
Yeah.
I was only reading a thing from Batista there that says he was broke right up until he got cast in that.
Yeah, I read that as well. I was like, well, you blew your WWE money, didn't you?
No, but that's rich people broke. That's like, I can't afford to get that second pool that I was planning to get. Like, when rich people say, like, when people who are rich to that level say they're broke, they mean, I don't
They're
have
down to the million.
Yeah, I only have 1 million left. Like, they're not broke. Like, he wasn't, about to be on the street or anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Apparently, he owed a whole lot to the IRS, and he didn't want to go back to WWE with his tail between his legs. And I was like, bollocks.
They would have taken him back at a heartbeat as well. They still would.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Probably.
And Greg, finish it off.
No, it's me to finish it off.
Oh, sorry,
Ted.
Ted.
Yeah,
Apologies.
like listen, see no evil is it's relatively good. You know, there's nothing fantastic about it. The worst thing about it is May 19th. That's the worst thing about it. And that's not even a film. That's just, you know, in WWE, and they want to promote it, and it was like, we need to promote this, right? So May 19th is going to be a big date, and then they were like, right, we'll do that, and then kind of forgot about it, and we're like, shit, we didn't think about what that's meant to be. Like, we know what it is. It's the premiere of the film, but like, that can't be what it is in our storyline. It has to be something else, and they had nothing, so they just kind of gave up on it.
Yeah. Did they not say it was the day that everything was burned or something? Is the day the funeral home burned down or something like that?
No,
no,
I
they just
actually know this one.
yeah,
I actually know which one it was. I believe it was meant to be leading up to the Katie Vick story.
Yeah.
Oh
Fine.
God, no.
Yeah, it is. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. So like they just kind of bottled it, and we're like, crap, we need to think of something that ties in here so that we can have a reason to have promoted this date other than just, oh, Kane is in a film, which actually would have been better had they just gone, by the way, just come out on the stage. Vince just come out on the stage and go, listen, that May 19th thing, yeah, listen, we thought we were going to have a storyline for that. We didn't. It's when Kane's film comes out. Thanks very much, lads. That would have been better.
Why
been
did
better.
they just make it the anniversary of the funeral home burning down? That would actually make sense.
Nope. Needed to make it the Katie Vick storyline. That's what they needed to do.
Oh,
It just doesn't make sense.
No, but in terms of the film, Guardian of the Galaxy is incredible. And Batista had a few roles and stuff in films before this. I think this is the one where he really solidified himself. This is
he made himself a star.
This is where he became one of the bigger, like, not the biggest star in Hollywood, but this is when he put himself up on that pedestal of people being like, this guy can actually act.
He's definitely an A-lister. Like, he's a
now he is, like this put him up there.
Yeah.
Shame WWE didn't see it that way, but I guess a lot of people didn't see that it was going to be the success that it was, because everyone thought this was going to kill the MCU because it was such an obscure comic to kind of go with. But as we said, it was a huge hit, and I'm delighted for him. Like, delighted that it was a huge hit, and I'm assuming the second one is in here somewhere as well.
If I'm not mistaken, he's rumored to be leaving after the third, supposedly.
Yes.
Apparently
his contract is up after the third one, so we'll see how that goes. Most of them are everyone that's in that film, their contracts are up after the third one, so we'll see if they all renew or not.
Fingers crossed.
Next up, will they continue? Will the favorites continue? We have number 18 here, which is Batista, again in Blade Runner 2049, up against John Cena, ranked as number 14 in Blockers. And Matt, we'll start off with yourself.
I
love Blockers. I thought Blockers.
Blockers was
the full name is Blockers. Yeah,
it is. It's just it has the chicken or the cock beside it.
Yeah, but it is just called Blockers. Yeah.
For me, Blade Runner 2049, it's great because it's what it's following Blade Runner, which is going to be neon impossible to follow up on. It was going to be a tough film to follow up on, and a lot of people probably went in there, with the whole nostalgia glasses as well.
And then you get Denis Villeneuve in to direct it, so it's not going to be the most fast-paced things in any way.
Yeah, but for me, I absolutely thought Blockers was absolutely hilarious. John Cena showing the fact that he is he's not above it all to make a butt of himself of the joke.
Oh yeah, he was well aware of what he was doing in that film, and he made himself the joke of it, and it worked perfectly. I think the year they came out, this was my favorite comedy of the year.
It would have been up there, all right, that year. Yeah.
If my vote's got to go for Blockers. because for me, when I was watching it, it's funny when you're crying and it's hurting.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
remember when I went to the cinema to see it with the wife.
Because you're laughing
And
that hard.
we went. There was a scene when Leslie Mann was in the room with her daughter about to have sex, and then she trying to escape, and she just the last bit of it, she just does this crab walk out of the room, and I swear to God, my sides, my sides were in tatters. I love that film. I might watch that again soon. I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it is. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's on a streaming service, definitely.
Yeah. What about yourself, Ted?
I'm very similar to Matt here. Like Blade Runner 2049, it had a hard job of following up, and it did a very good job of following up the original Blade Runner.
Yeah.
But Blockers, like I went into Blockers and I was kind of thinking, I'll go see it. John Cena's in it. It'll be kind of funny, I'm sure. Like the guy has comedic chops. We've seen it in WWE, so I was like, it'll be at least kind of funny. It's something you go to the cinema. It's a comedy. You'll sit down. You'll have a few laughs. You'll leave. I went in and I was like, when he got into it, I was like, this is incredible. Like, just everything he does. Like, he's obviously a big, huge guy. Like, and he could go in there and he could kind of ham it up a little bit, but then he signed on knowing that his character was going to be a complete idiot in this film, and he went for that fully. Like, he fully invested in the fact that he's a complete idiot in this, and he just does it so well with real serious, like, do you know who I am sort of like thing in it. The whole thing was just like, this could be a nobody actor who was told you need to come in and make a fool of yourself, and he was just like, yeah, cool, I'll come in, I'll make a fool of myself, no bother, lads. And it was it's so funny.
Thought another scene there when he's talking to his wife and he's doing the laundry and he sees the tongue and he puts it in his mouth. And then it's his daughter's song.
It's so funny. And he's brilliant in it. He's gonna move into Hollywood eventually soon. Like fully the way The Rock has. And
he's there already. Let's be honest.
He sort of is, but he's not. He's not at that level he went in at a higher level than The Rock did, I would say. Overall, as a better actor overall when he went in. He's not at the level The Rock is now, but I think he'll get there. I think he's incredible. Like, so yeah.
Watch the Suicide Squad, man. Watch the Suicide Squad.
For me, Blockers.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see it as soon as I can. So Blockers for me, definitely. Yeah.
Perfect. So Blockers is going through there as well. Greg, would you agree?
There's not many films in the last while that I've seen that I've actually cried laughing at.
Yeah.
But there was some in that I just there's just tears coming down my face. My sides were sore from laughing at that. I remember seeing the ads for it. I was like,
the ass chugging beer.
I've seen that far too many. I've seen that too many times watching Jackass. So that wasn't even that bad.
That was just his reaction, though.
No.
Yeah, it was him thinking it was normal because he had to be cool. That was like, oh yeah, I know all about this. Yeah.
It's it was brilliant. Blade Runner for me was just me. It was all right for what it was. Not a patch on the first one.
It was always going to be hard.
Nothing was ever going to be.
Yeah,
nothing was ever going to be. Now, Blade Runner's got a harsh draw here. It could have drawn something else and got through. But
true. When it's an 18 against 14, they are quite close ranked. But number 14 goes through. The streak continues. The streak continues of the favorites to go through. And will this one continue? Because we'll start off with Matt. We have ranked number 10 against ranked number 22. Number 10 is Hulk Hogan in Rocky 3. Up against Kevin Nash in Magic Mike.
Oh, for me, I'm surprised Kevin Nash lasted in the film as long as he did without blowing a quad.
It's true. He had a lot of movements.
Yeah, it's one of them. As you watch it, it's like, don't blow a quad out. Don't blow a quad out.
Oh, he
But
blew
for
it.
me, he blew it. He blew it. But for me, Rocky 3 is just absolutely hysterical, and the fact that Hogan went in with such a ridiculous name, if I'm not mistaken, was it Thunderlips?
Yeah,
Thunderlips,
Thunderlips. Yeah.
Thunderlips. And the way he portrayed himself, it was just absolutely hysterically funny, and it had me, It's plus on top of that, it's Rocky.
Yeah.
It's Rocky.
From what I will say, this is the start of the not taking Rocky seriously anymore. The first two films are serious films. After this is the start of I wouldn't consider it. I wouldn't consider it like Oscar worthy. The first two I would. This one, it's nowhere near that. It takes its more.
I don't know.
It takes its.
Yeah.
It sees what it is.
Yeah,
I don't fully agree with that.
No, I agree with Greg on this one. I don't agree with that one because I thought this one was absolutely brilliant for me personally.
This is one of my least favorite Rockies. I'm not gonna lie. Like I have this.
Oh no.
This is actually, if I'm putting them all in there, including the two Creed films, this is second last.
Oh no. Oh no. No. No.
1, 2, 4,
This movie.
Balboa, Creed 1
Nah,
and 2 are all better than it.
Three is better than 4.
Oh, I don't know about that
no.
now. I don't know about
No, it's not.
that. Let's not get into which ranking
Yeah,
the
so
Rockies,
that's
because
a
we could be
different-
here all day. But
Yeah,
That's a different topic.
and I'm pretty sure, I guarantee a certain friend of mine, if they're watching this, will be messaging me saying, if he dies, he dies.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
But
this
yeah.
one's going to be a quick one, isn't it? It's going to be Rocky 3, really, isn't it? Magic Mike probably would have been funnier if Kevin Nash had blown a quad in the film. Like, that actually might have made that film funny. Like, I know it's
That's
not meant to
true.
be a comedy, but I think that would have worked.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
it would have worked for
Just
me.
sitting on the stage like Vince McMahon. That would have been
Perfect.
hilarious.
Greg, do you make it a 3-0 as well?
No pun intended.
Perfect. That's Rocky 3 going through, and the streak continues of all the favorites. And I think
We must be
it
nearly through
should.
that first round then.
It should. We're nearly through the first round. I'll be amazed. It'll be shocking if all the favorites win. But we have number 26 here, and we'll start off with Ted. 26 in The Rock's film of Pain and Gain. Up against number 6, Andre the Giant in The Princess Bride.
The favourites are gone here. Favourites are gone here.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. If it was me voting, no, I'm not voting here. I'm 100% on The Princess Bride here.
I think
100%
I kind of
on The Princess
I think I
Bride.
kind of am as well. I think The Princess Bride is brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
Pain and Gain was very good, but Princess Bride is kind of it's a different sort of film. Like Pain and Gain, there's a lot of films kind of similar to it, whereas there's not really a whole lot that's very similar to The Princess Bride. It's kind of a standout sort of film. I don't think it'll go overly far, but I'm going to go with Princess Bride here over Pain and Gain. I think just because Pain and Gain, there's a lot of similar type films, and I don't think that could be said for Princess Bride.
Princess Bride is phenomenal. I generally have that of one of the best comedies of all time. I love The Princess Bride. It's brilliant. Greg, I'm guessing you don't. from your reaction.
It's not that I don't like it. I just think Pain and Gain is better.
Right.
The fact that Pain and Gain is based off a true story as well.
It is, but the people involved don't like it whatsoever.
Most true story people don't like it, but you look.
That's true.
No, Princess Bride was good. So I can understand why people love it. I watched Pain and Gain when it first came out, and I loved it. And I've watched it at least once a year since.
Okay, so
It's
you're a
Pain
big
and Gain for me.
Big Pain and Game guy. So Matt, it comes down to yourself again. It hasn't happened often so far today. But you get the deciding vote again.
Yeah, Pain and Gain is really good, and it's even got an additional wrestler in it as well, if I'm not mistaken. It's even got Kurt Angle in it.
Is Kurt Angle in that?
Yes,
Can't
he was
remember.
actually he's only
It's
in it.
brief, isn't it? It's
briefly.
very brief. Yeah.
It's the prison fight scene. He gets the weight thrown at his head.
Ah, fair
He
enough.
gets smashed.
He got pretty much taken out very, very quickly. But for me, both of them are very good. If I'm gonna have to pick Princess Bride.
Yeah. It's a hard
Princess
one. 'Cause
Bride.
they are both good, but yeah.
Pain and Gain is good, and it's one of them. It's narrow. It's a narrow margin because The Princess Bride is such a classic,
Mm.
and it is such
Big
a
time.
classic. It's one that second you met, anyone mentions Andre the Giant, that's one of the first. That's the film that everyone remembers him in automatically.
true.
Conan the
This is
Destroyer.
very true. That was close to making it onto the
Yeah.
list. It's not on the list. So next
It's not
up,
often you see
Greg.
Arnie being the smallest man.
And he really is the smallest man in that one, yeah. Next up, we have, and I think this is an easy one because I was actually surprised it made it onto the list. But we have number 7, which has a host of different people in it. It's The Longest Yard with Goldberg, Kevin Nash, Steve Austin, Khali, all in it against The Rock's Southland Tales.
Wow.
Yeah.
This Southland Tales made it onto the list.
Yes, it did. I don't know how, but I went through so many of these different lists, and this was on so many of them. So I took an aggregate score, and this made it on at number
I think it's The
27.
Rock. I think it's The Rock, isn't it? It's The Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
It's
it
because
is.
The
You
Rock's
should
with
have
it. Yeah.
put Gridiron Gang in.
That was close to being on as well. That was close to being on.
I'll tell you now, if this was
Uh,
Longest Yard versus Gridiron Gang, I'd be struggling.
That would be interesting.
I'd be
That'd
struggling.
interesting. Yeah.
But as it
Yeah.
is, I am not struggling here.
Do you just
Will we
want me to
just pass it on and just say 3-0?
That's it.
Longest Yard, here we go.
3-0. There we go.
On
Long
to the
Yard.
yeah.
now.
It's long for me. If I'm not mistaken, that's got one of the most out of the probably the list of wrestlers. If I'm not mistaken,
Bar
massive.
McGruber and Ready to Rumble. It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And consistently throughout the film as well. Like they're all
Yeah.
stars of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Nash is absolutely
Kevin Nash is hilarious. Yeah.
hysterical in this.
He's so good. He's taken his
They
his
give him
estrogen,
switches,
yeah,
switches
his
things with estrogen.
steroids to estrogen. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, that's a good one, all right. That's a good one. I actually only watched it last night. It was on Comedy Central when I got home.
I watched it about 2 days. I think I watched it 2 or 3 days ago, or last weekend. I think it was. It's so good.
Perfect. Again, the favorite goes through. And will it here? It might end here depending on how you guys vote here. It's number 11. And we'll start off with Matt. It's number 11 in Roddy Piper's They Live
Oh.
up against number 15, Batista's Guardians of the Galaxy 2. No. I never said this show was easy, Matt. The lads know sometimes it gets some really tough ones.
Yeah, it really does.
This one's a tough one because it's Guardian of the Galaxy 2 and the whole scene, and it's just brilliant for the whole storyline. And then, later on, the whole, the big reveal of what happened to his mother and everything. It's just, what? More of a, it's like, but at the same time, you sit there thinking that was the time to reveal it then. But They Live is such an amazing film. The weird thing about it is I've actually got both of these myself, both of them, and it's really, really tough. But I'm gonna have to go with They Live, Roddy Piper, simply because there's one line in it that everyone knows. All I'll say is kicking ass and chewing bubblegum.
We were all saying it in our head. Let's be honest.
And-
With the sunglasses on.
Oh.
Yep. Oh yeah. Ted, what way are you going here yourself?
Yeah, I'm similar to Matt here. Like, I love Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I don't think it was as well received as the first
it's not as
Guardians of the
good. No,
Galaxy.
it's not.
I think a lot of people don't like it as much. I really like the second one, not more than I like the first one, but I really like that second one. I think the second one is better than people give it credit for.
Yeah,
in a lot of
The
ways.
reason as they play it too much for jokes. They changed Batista's character way too much in it.
Yeah, they did. They kind of they hurt Batista's character quite a lot in it, but I think Chris Pratt's character, like the main character, is the main character. I think
Yeah.
they did such a good job with him and the whole reveal of oh, I loved your mother and this and that, and then it killed me to put that tumor in her head. Like that scene itself is just so
that's true.
good. And then the final battle where he has to like fight his dad, who is essentially a god, but yeah, and he's also a god. Was so good, but the truth is that like of the Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one's better. And They Live is incredible as well. I'm gonna go They Live because we've already put one Guardians through, and I think They Live deserves to go through here as well. I do think it's probably the better film overall, really.
There's even
As
a
much
classic
as I
fight
love-
scene. The classic fight scene that's in it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
They batter each other in the alleyway.
yeah. I love Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but it's not. They Live is the better film. That's in truth. So
Perfect. So They Live goes through and continues the streak. Lads, there's only 2 matches left for this streak to
Wow.
end. 2 matches left for this streak to end. And to start that one off, we have this one's interesting. They're 2 rock films again. And we're gonna start off with Ted. It's Welcome to the Jungle at number 19. Up against number 23. Walking Tall.
Oh, shit.
It's over now.
Now.
Oh.
I think it might be over now. I thought it was over
don't
earlier,
know.
but it definitely might be over now.
So, Welcome to the Jungle is the one with Sean William Scott, and Walking Tall is the one with Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah. Oh.
Don't forget Christopher Walken.
Of course, but
He's
if you're
in-
trying
he's
to
in Welcome to the
differentiate,
Jungle.
because they both came out quite close to each other.
Yeah.
So the one thing with Welcome to the Jungle, and I know like it's nothing on him, but Welcome to the Jungle is
Oh,
also the
Jesus,
name
taking
of. Welcome to the Jungle is also a Jumanji one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why did they do that? What the hell were they thinking?
Well, it depends. To be
Welcome.
honest with you, with the actual name, it depends on which country you actually coming from, because it's got 2
In the
names.
States, rundown.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, that's why.
I think it lost its right to the Welcome to the Jungle to the horror film that came out at the same time.
Oh, did it?
Apparently
Okay.
the horror film had patented its name beforehand. That's why it was changed in America.
Well, that explains why they called one of the Jumanji ones Welcome to the Jungle, because nothing exists outside the United States, so they had to do that because they didn't call it Walking Tall in the United States. I actually like both of these films. I think they're both really good. They're both early rock, so
Yes.
he's not particularly great in them. Walking Tall has Johnny Knoxville though, and I love Johnny Knoxville.
He was hyped of his powers at the time.
He's so good in Walking Tall as well.
He actually really is.
I think these 2 films are very similar in a way. So I'm going to go with Walking Tall because it's the one with Johnny Knoxville.
Perfect. That's Walking Tall, 1 vote. Greg, what way are you going here?
Well, boys, the streak is over.
My God.
Down
We
to
almost made
it's
it.
down to 2 for Walking Tall. Walking Tall is a much better film in my opinion. I like Welcome to the Jungle, and it's very good and it's enjoyable to watch. But if you ask me to put on one of these, I'm going to put on Walking Tall. Especially that scene where he hits him with the 2x4 and breaks his forearm.
Before you even
it's
said
rough
it, I even remembered the scene. I visualized it in my head. I
Yeah,
visualized it in my head.
straight. Yeah. Oh no.
Perfect. So that is 2-0. Is it 3-0, Matt?
Walking Tall.
Walking Tall,
Walking Tall.
3-0.
For me, Welcome to the Jungle was great, and I even liked some of the little passing the trophy scene. If anybody noticed it.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen the film now, to be honest.
Arnie's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he passes the essentially the torch to, you're going to be the big.
And as they switch, you see him just leaning and go, "Have fun."
Right. Fair. So
It's got its iconic scenes, but for me, I've got to go with Walking Tall just for some of the scenes that they've got into it, and for me, I just felt as though it had more of the better plot line for me personally.
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's fair.
It's another
Completely fair.
Another true story, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's got an air. It's got an air of Rambo about it as well.
Loosely
It's
based. Let's be honest.
loosely based.
Very loosely.
It's
true
loosely
story, yeah.
based, and it's a remake.
It
Yeah.
is. Yes.
Yeah. No, it's a remake. Yeah. It's got an air of Rambo about it, though.
Just a tad. So we've made it to the second last one, and the streak is broken. The favorite in that round went out, but it's definitely not going to happen
The
in
magic
the
of
last.
the cup.
It's definitely not going to happen here, lads. 100%, I can guarantee it. It's not happening here because
Let's make
we
it happen.
have number 31. Oh, number 31, Hulk Hogan's No Hold Barred,
Oh.
I mean,
up against number 2, and Greg, you can decide it, or you can start it off here, in Kurt Angle's Warrior.
no holds barred. Warrior was terrible.
What?
No, Warrior was phenomenal. Warrior was phenomenal.
Yeah.
No holds barred was terrible. If you were putting the Hulk Hogan movie, you might as well have put Gremlins in.
I almost
how
had
bad
Gremlins
No
2 in
Holds
there.
Barred is.
I'm surprised you didn't put in Suburban Commando.
Again, there was a couple, there's a lot of films to go through.
Condemned.
There's a lot of films to go through.
Mr.
There was.
Mr. Nanny.
Oh,
Yes,
but
there was.
I think with the Suburban Commando, it's not just Hogan though; it's also Taker.
What
in there as well.
about the Marine and the Marine 19?
Yeah, I was trying to go through theater. I was doing theatrically released films.
Yeah.
The Chaperone.
Well, how are you going here? How are you going here? Oh Jesus! And I almost went Blade Trinity. Almost went Blade Trinity, but it's awful.
Ooh.
What about yourself, Greg? How are you voting here? I think it's fairly obvious.
Warrior. Kurt Angle, this Cobra was brilliant in this.
Yes.
And he was jacked.
Oh, completely. He was huge.
Yeah.
From the American hero to the Russian hero. What about yourself, Matt?
For me, No Holds Barred does actually have a lot of nostalgia, and if I'm not mistaken, it even brought in Zeus into wrestling.
Zeus, yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't really want to talk about that later.
Or should we say, for WCW, Z Gangster?
Even worse.
Even worse. But at the same time,
stop talking.
And there's even scenes in it that are cringe with it. For me, No Holds Barred, it's not a good movie, but it's so bad, it's good.
Good, yeah.
That's the thing with it. It's so bad, it's good. But The Warrior, Kurt Angle, all the scenes in it, the fighting, everything looks. The realism, it was literally grip, sit on the edge of your seat, watch entertainment, and is thoroughly enjoyable.
And Nick Nolte's performance in the film as well was brilliant.
Phenomenal. For me, Warrior.
It's definitely going to be one of the favorites for this tournament, I think. But Ted, what way are you going? Is it a 3-0?
It is a 3-0, but I'll tell you now, when you said no holds barred, and then you were like, and up against Kurt Angle's, right? That is not where my head went. My head went to Sharknado 2, and I was like, how the fuck did Sharknado 2 make this onto the list? I was like, how did that film make it onto the list? And you're like, and it's going against the number 2, and I was like, no way Sharknado number 2 is number 2 on the list. No way, lads. And I was like, that can't be right. But yeah, no, Warrior deserves to go through. And I don't know why the first film I think of when someone says Kurt Angle is Sharknado 2 rather than Warrior. But
I think that's more of a Ted problem.
I don't know why that's where my head went to. I think it's because I love the whole concept of Sharknado. Oh, there's a tornado. Yeah, but there's sharks in it. And I love that concept. And again, it's a film that's so shit. Like, they're all so shit that they're good. You know, that's and I love that.
If I was putting Sharknado 2, I could do number 3 because that has Jericho and Maurice. Number 5 has Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just...
There's no 5.
Oh, there's 5, yeah.
There is a Sharknado 5. Yeah.
I know.
I don't know why that's where my head went. I don't know why that's where my head went when you said Kurt Angle, but that's where I thought I'd let you know. That's where my head went when I heard the name Kurt Angle in a film.
That's definitely not ranked number 2 in any way on this list.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, whoa.
Perfect. So just to kick off round number 2, we have it's ranked number 1 against ranked number 20. We have, and we'll start off with who started off the last one? We'll start off with Ted. We'll start off with Ted there. We have The Wrestler against the Expendables.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty clear-cut one again, isn't it? Like, The Wrestler is just it's an absolutely phenomenal film. Expendables is really enjoyable for what it is. You know, it's a throwback to proper 80s action film. You know, where it's just like, here, this is a bit insane, but it's 80s action, so you're gonna love it. And you know, it's made in, I think it was 2010. It was actually made in, or somewhere around then.
I was in college, so it was 2010, 2011.
Yeah, it's somewhere around then. So, you know, you've got the better CGI and stuff, but you've still, like, they still stuck with all the 80s action tropes. The Expendables is enjoyable, but The Wrestler as a film is just, it's dark, it's gritty, and it shows a side of wrestling that a lot of people would never have known about.
Mickey Rourke was robbed. Mickey Rourke was robbed.
Yeah, and it was brilliant. The only downside is that Mickey Rourke didn't take part in his WrestleMania match because he thought Chris Jericho might actually beat him up.
Yeah, he thought it was a shoot.
Yeah, he thought it was a shoot, which is, you know, whatever. But yeah, The Wrestler goes through here. Yeah,
100%. I just no other word for that. The Wrestler is phenomenal. Like,
yeah,
genuinely, as I said, it's one of my favorite films of all time. I adore this film. What about yourself, Greg?
Yeah, as much actually. I take it Matt's gonna vote for The Wrestler, so I'll give the Expendables an L vote.
You're playing a dicey game. You're playing a dicey game.
I got stung twice last week or last time out.
You did.
But no, I have a feeling Matt will go with The Wrestler. I think the Expendables deserves at least a vote for what it was. But I know The Wrestler will go through and probably go pretty far into this. So
yeah. So Matt, please tell me your vote on The Wrestler.
Well, the Expendables was really good and very nostalgic and everything, you know, and whatnot, and plenty of action, plenty of laughs, many stars. But come on, it's the Wrestler. It's The Wrestler. And for me, when I watched that myself, and you can see some of the storyline, you know, I didn't expect him to go as far as the whole, you know, in the locker room, the tanning and everything can go down that far into the nitty gritty. And it does show a bit of the dark side of wrestling and need even say about the finish. That's all I'll just say.
Yeah. I mean, it's a movie's 10 years, at least 10 years old now. We can spoil it if you know you don't need to hold back.
No. I'm just saying it just because you know, it's just need to say more. Just the whole. It's one of the only films where a cut to black is fine.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Agreed. They let yourself decide what happens. I hate when they generally do that in films, but there it worked.
It did work
It
there,
actually
yeah.
worked.
Yeah.
Perfect. And Ted, do you make it a 3-0? Oh wait,
Yeah.
sorry, it's
Yeah, I
sorry,
started.
it's 2-1.
I started. Yeah, wrestler,
It was
wrestler,
wrestler.
2-1.
Perfect.
Was Man on the Moon close to making it onto this list out of interest?
It was. It was. I know JR and King are in there, but
I only just thought of it there. Because I was like, oh, do you remember when Mickey Rourke wouldn't fight Chris Jericho because he thought it was a shoot? And I was like,
Yeah.
do you remember when everyone thought Andy Kaufman versus Jerry Lawler was a
King.
shoot?
Jim Carrey.
True.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jim Carrey got really into the role of
Yeah.
He did.
Andy Kaufman. That
Yeah, he did.
King almost knocked him out.
Yeah, he did. He did method. He went on
But the,
method
but,
for
the,
that
but the
film.
actual story of Kaufman and King, you know,
Brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
people really thought like that man just broke Andy Kaufman's neck.
Yeah.
He played it up. In fairness, Kaufman
Oh,
played
yeah.
it up for a long time.
Oh yeah, he was a comic genius.
I think the best thing about it is what was so clever about that is the whole net brace.
Perfect. So, Greg, we're going to start off here, and this is actually tougher than what I thought. It's going to be number 12 against number 8. 12 is The Rock's Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, up against number 8, Macho Man in Spider-Man.
Um,
It's actually
Not
not.
as
It's
tough,
not as
actually.
easy.
I don't think it's as tough. I think Welcome to the Jungle is a far superior movie than Spider-Man.
Jumanji, yeah.
Following up from the classic with Robin Williams to pull that off was brilliant. As
Yeah.
Ted said in the first round, the take to make it a video game to make it more
Genius.
more newer
Modern.
way of playing it. Like, yeah, modern be the word. Yeah, like it was brilliant. It was like the story was well thought out. The acting, Jack Black and Kevin Hart were fucking fantastic. The Rock is
Karen
the Rock.
Gillian in that. Karen Gillian in
Gillian
that
was-
dancing scene
wow.
was brilliant.
So that's no. It's for me. For me, it's Jumanji.
Jumanji, 1 vote. Perfect. And Matt, which way are you going here?
I'm gonna have to go down the route of.
It is tough.
It's tough because at the same time, it's the fact that it's Macho Man as well.
It's true. We're voting on the movie. We're not voting on the actor.
No.
It's tough.
I'm not. It's at the same time, I did actually enjoy the movie itself, but out of the one I'm going to be lean more to rewatching again and again and again will be the Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. More so.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just the fact that it's the array of cast of how wonderful they work together, and there's even some scenes in it that catch you from out of complete nowhere that you don't see coming at all.
True.
The hippo.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The hippo.
What made
Perfect,
even
so
worse for me is I didn't even see that trailer. That scene on the trailer. So I just can imagine I was watching that for the first time. I was like, excuse me?
Yeah, and then they done it in the second one as well with the snake.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
Welcome to the Jungle.
Perfect. Is that a 3-0 there, Ted? Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. Like I have a lot of love for that original Spider-Man film.
Yeah.
I loved it when I was younger, but Welcome to that Jumanji was just so good. I know people weren't mad on the second Jumanji.
I really liked it.
I really liked it as well. I don't understand why people
I did.
shit on the second one, but like I really enjoy both of them.
True. The reason it's not on this list, it should have been on the list with the rankings, but I was just like, there's too many Rock films here. I had to sacrifice one of them.
Basically, it would have just been
because the Rock is in everything.
top 32 Rock films.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, Welcome to the
That's
Jungle, I
next
think,
week's
is
episode.
Welcome to the Jungle is a better film overall than Spider-Man, as enjoyable as Spider-Man is.
But I will just say about Spider-Man, I know, Matt, you don't really, I don't know if you watch it or not, but I got into doing this, and there's been a lot of people on the show from the Schmodown. It's kind of WWE cross with movie trivia. A lot of fun, but there's a very iconic and famous moment from the show. It was the last question, so it was 5 points in a inner geekdom match, which was all comic book movies and all that type of thing.
Yeah.
And it went down to a Spider-Man question, and it was, what is the last lines that the Green Goblin says in Spider-Man? And if he won this, this guy was about to get a number one contender, or be the number one contender to go for the title. And his answer was, "Don't tell Peter." The actual line is, "Don't tell Harry," when he's dying.
Oh,
But
no.
it's gone down as a huge and famous moment in the Schmodown because of this. And I just always, anytime I think of Spider-Man, I just think of that scene now. But you should definitely check out the Schmodown. It's, if you're as you're into wrestling, you'll love all
I'm
the
gonna have
storylines
to.
and all that.
I'm gonna have to.
It's brilliant. Anyway, next up with Jumanji going through to that, we have, I don't know if it'll go through here because you haven't seen it. It's John Cena in the Suicide Squad up against Jesse the Body Ventura in Predator. And
Oh, no.
Greg, we'll start off with yourself here.
Like as I said in the last round, I don't normally vote for things I haven't seen.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for me to say I think I'd have voted for Predator anyway. But
True.
Predator is Predator. I know you've done the 80s action film and Die Hard came out on top, but for me, Predator is probably the best action movie of the 80s.
I'm pretty sure I got to the final four. I can't remember that far back. I think that was the first show we did.
Yeah, I think Die Hard knocked it out. I think Die Hard knocked it out. Yeah,
it was Die Hard.
Did it? Die Hard did win it.
Predator for me is the best 80s action movie in my opinion. And it's a movie that's left you for 50 minutes not knowing really what's going on. You just think it's like a war film. Then all of a sudden there's a big fuck off alien chasing people down. No,
that's true.
the Predator was fucking fantastic. So I'm gonna give mine to
Predator. Did get to the final four, and it got taken out by Die Hard in the semifinals of the 80s one. And it was Die Hard against Top Gun in the finals. But so Predator for a vote there. Matt, what way are you going here? You've seen Suicide Squad.
Yeah. It's difficult because I have seen it, and I didn't. When I actually,
carnage, it's absolute carnage.
It's absolute carnage, and I remember watching it, and it was only because of the trailers. I didn't even realize that King Shark was Stallone.
Yeah,
yeah,
King Shark, and he steals the show. King Shark is.
That's what
brilliant.
I mean. Stallone is stealing the absolute show with just his voice.
Yeah, it's very true.
But like Greg said, Predator is Predator, and it is one of them. And I'll never forget first watching it. Like you said, at first you sit there thinking, "Oh, it's one of them." It's just an army film, and then all of a sudden, people getting killed off, and all of a sudden, it's a tribe or something. You think you don't instantly think, an alien killing, an alien. You don't instantly think that.
True.
At all.
Very true.
And I even think the way they even handled later on how to combat it was brilliant as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So is it Predator?
Predator.
Perfect. That's 2 votes for Predator. It is going through. Ted, I'm guessing because you haven't seen Suicide Squad, it's going to be a 3-0.
Yeah, it is. I haven't seen Suicide Squad. I really I want to go see it because I've heard how good it is, which is great because the first one was the shits. Predator is one of those films. Predator is one of those films that stands up to the test of time as well. There's
very true.
You don't go back and watch Predator and go, "Oh, it's actually not great." It's still just as good now as it was when you would have first seen it.
If I'm not mistaken, with the Suicide Squad, the first one, they're actually trying to get the original director's cut version, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're trying to do the air cut, but yeah,
Again,
It's going to be.
that could
I
be
don't
very
know
if I
good
could
if
sit down through
there's
that
just so
again.
there's so many problems with Warner Brothers. So I mean, just
Yeah,
let them do what they're going to do.
For me, I actually agree. In the original first Suicide Squad, there was way too many problems.
Oh, it's a
yeah,
terrible
like
film.
I was really looking forward to the original one. Then I went to see it and I was like, Jesus, they've really shit
Well,
the bed here, haven't they?
You know why?
Um,
You know why you were looking forward to that film? Because
I know
that
why I was
trailer
looking
was
forward
the
to it.
greatest trailer of all time.
That
That
trailer
trailer was phenomenal.
Oh, definitely.
it did look very good,
I
but
know why
this is
I
the
know
thing
why
with
I
them.
was looking forward to it, lad.
But the thing is, it's just they just need to, like, these director's cuts where they're like, we'll release a shit film and then we'll release the director's cut later. I
Yeah.
mean, I like that I get to see the director's cut, but if I know they're going to just do that going forward, I'm just not going to go see it in the cinema. I'll just wait for
Yeah,
the director's
true.
cut.
Well, I would say I'd like to do that, but I know I won't.
No, I say that. I know I will go to the cinema. I know I say
Well,
that, but I would go to the
You
cinema
have
anyway.
to get your money's worth.
It's true. It's true. I do pay membership to the cinema. So that's Predator going through to the next round, 3-0. I'm interested when you do see the Suicide Squad. I want to know if you're message me privately. Let me know if your opinion would have changed there or not.
I doubt it will, but yeah, I'll let you know. I've seen it.
Probably not.
Perfect. So Matt, we'll start off with yourself here.
Mhm.
Again, 2 rock films. We have number 13 in Moana up against number 4, Fighting with My Family.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oddly enough, it's going to be an easy one for me.
Okay.
And
I think I'm going to be the same as you here, Matt.
It's going to be easy for me because with me actually knowing a certain family,
You're going to vote for Moana.
I know that chicken's family, lads. I've met a whole load of them.
Hey,
you
leave
know
Hey
me
Hey
too
alone.
well.
I'll leave Hey Hey alone, but I'm not leaving the rest of the family alone.
It's all right. The Knights will love that joke anyway.
Oh no, no! I'm gonna have to go with Fighting with My Family. Genuinely great story. Everything was brilliant, and with me even knowing some of them as well, it felt a bit, with me actually knowing them as well. You got to look a bit more into it as well. Find out a bit more as well. If I managed to get to meet them. I don't know them like my next door neighbor or anything, but it was still an interesting story for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and Moana is great, and got plenty of laughs. Got Triple H, lip syncing and everything to it.
Oscar winning Moana.
Oh yeah, if I'm not
Probably
mistaken,
the only Oscar winning film on this list.
and if I'm not mistaken, also caused people to almost break the internet over. Is she an official Disney princess?
Oh
It
yeah,
did,
not
yeah.
mistaken.
There was a big argument over
she
that.
is.
But I'm gonna have to go with Fighting with My Family.
Perfect. That's 1 vote for Fighting with My Family. Good guy Ted. Are you being the good guy Ted and making Greg vote? You're how you got your moniker, or are you voting for Fighting with My Family?
No, I think this one, like, I was always going to love Fighting with My Family because I'm a pro wrestling fan. So I kind of I knew the story to an extent, as Matt said, like Matt kind of knows them, but I wouldn't know them. But you follow wrestling, kind of the story of where Paige came from. That her family were a wrestling family. You know all that stuff. So I was always going to enjoy it. The question was going to be when I went with other people that don't like professional wrestling at all,
Yeah.
would they be able to enjoy the film? And everyone I know that's gone to see it or has watched it that isn't a wrestling fan has been like, well, I actually really liked that. I didn't think I'd like that because it was a wrestling film. And that's the difference. Like, Moana is a Disney film. Disney films are going to be pretty much universally loved. It's very hard because Disney have a template that they follow to an extent. So it's very hard for them to make an actual bad film. You can make one that's not as good as other ones, but it's rare that they'll make an actual bad one.
And they did make the Lion King remake.
Yeah, but see,
Don't big deal of that.
that's them going and making, we'll make these live action ones. Like the Lion King itself is fantastic, So
Oh
like,
yeah,
they
one of
have
the best
that
movies ever. But
yeah, they have
Lion
that
King remake
template.
was made then.
Yeah, they have that template where they, they're always going to hit very well.
Sure.
And Moana doesn't really deviate massively from the template. It does deviate a bit in that it's a quite different story, but the fact that a film about pro wrestling was so well received, for me that's what clinches it here. Fighting with My Family is just it's one of my favorite films. Like
for me, that's going to be a tough one to beat.
Yeah,
for me personally,
I could honestly if
it's
that
ranked
ended
number
up winning,
4
I
for a
wouldn't be.
reason.
Yeah, if that ended up winning, I
reason.
wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, for me, it's Fighting with My Family.
Perfect. And Greg, to make it 3-0, is it? Or have you watched Moana too many times?
I've watched Moana too many times, but I would have been voting Fighting with My Family. I thought Ted might have made the vote go just to be good guy Ted. He needs to take that name down now. Now, if I remember correctly, Fighting with My Family went all the way to the semi-finals of one of these before, didn't it?
It may have. I can't remember.
It went far. It did go far.
It's definitely been in one of the tournaments before, but I can't remember which one.
Yeah.
I do sports movies probably.
No. Was it sports or was it the strong female leads?
No, I don't think it was in that one.
It was sports.
It must have been sports.
I was annoyed by it getting knocked. Whatever got knocked out by, I was annoyed by it getting knocked out by.
Let me have a quick check here.
Remember the Titans, was it?
No, that's video games.
It was Remember the Titans and Rocky in the final.
Yes, it was.
It might have been.
Which, let's be honest, there are two good ones that have in the final.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think it made it to the semis, though. I think it got knocked out maybe in the quarters. I think. Although, did I vote for it?
I thought it got to the semis.
It might have done. I think I did put a big push on the back of this. I think it might have got knocked out by Rocky.
Here we go. I'm on it. It got knocked out by Rocky. Yeah. In the semifinals. Got knocked out by Rocky. Yeah.
I think that's fair. Like Rocky is Rocky. I don't think even the Knights would argue with them getting knocked out by Rocky.
That's very
true.
I mean,
it's not the greatest sports film ever, but yeah.
Perfect. So
that
that's
other one
Fighting
didn't make the list, Ted. Let it go.
Space Jam. If you didn't know, Matt, Ted is the biggest Space Jam fan of all time.
It's the greatest film ever made. It's the greatest film ever made. Nothing better.
So next up, we have. And we'll start off with Matt. We have Guardians of the Galaxy up against Blockers. Yeah, this might be the hardest one so far.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
No, this one's going to be a tough one because I thoroughly enjoyed both of these, and it was such a in an amazing way. But I don't know. I don't even know which way to go with it. It's literally almost like I feel like I'm going to have to flip a coin or something. It's that.
It's a very tough one. One's out and out comedy. One is kind of action comedy.
But it's got really hysterical moments in it.
Yes.
The fact of, creating a diversion just by dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you also got your first glimpse of him being a sort of not full, all human.
True. Very true.
As well. So it sort of sets...
That's the MCU, so there's always story building in all the films. So
that's what I mean. Yeah. It's good story building, but Cena and Blockers, that film is just, like I said earlier, I was laughing so hard it was hurting.
Yeah, it's a side splitter, all right.
Yeah.
And as this is going to pay me saying this one, as much I am a massive comic book geek fan, but I'm also a massive comedy fan as well. So for me, I've got to weigh out which is I enjoy more, my comics or me comedy. And for me, I'm gonna have to either go with me comedy blockers.
Blockers with a surprising vote. Ted, are we going to reclaim your moniker?
Well, I never lost my moniker because good guys are honest guys. So I had to be honest. Like Fighting with My Family was better than Moana.
Yeah.
That's why I was the good guy there, because I was honest. For me, like as much as I enjoyed Blockers, and like it is incredibly funny.
Yeah.
The thing is that it was always going to be a kind of a one and done film, whereas Guardians was a risk that the MCU took. Now, I'm sure they didn't think it was that big a risk, but everyone thought this was a huge risk. And the cast they went with was kind of questioned at the time as well. And
True, it was Chris Pratt just coming off Curbs. Oh, not Curbs. Sorry, Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
He
where he was the big
hadn't
chubby
He
boy.
got a lot of hate.
Yeah,
for that,
he
didn't
hadn't
He-
done
he-
he hadn't
he was-
done Jurassic Park yet, so this was his first big films coming out of that.
And
Yeah.
he was quite a big lad, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
He was a chubby
Yeah,
boy
he's-
in Parks and Recs, all right. Yeah, he says it himself. When they did those
True.
things where you have to eat something, and you're like normally actors spit it into a bucket. He was saying he never spit anything out. He just ate it. They give him like we need to
Fuck
shoot this shot
fuck it,
3
why
times
not?
where you eat that burger 3 times, and he was just like, yeah, I'll just keep eating burgers. Like, so there's no like there's no
Yeah.
questioning him why he was a chubby boy at the time. The chap was eating 30 burgers a day.
First scene.
Yeah, first scene. But the thing is with Guardians of the Galaxy, they took a risk, and it was a risk that had to tie into the film, so they were going to have to stick with it, whether it went badly or not.
True.
And I think the fact that it hit so hard, and even the soundtrack for it hit massively. People loved that soundtrack.
Still
and it
do.
was-
That soundtrack is one of the best. That might be an upcoming show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's it.
Actually, best soundtracks.
it was
Yeah,
incredible.
that'd be good.
But I think for me, that does put Guardians of the Galaxy over the edge. The Blockers is as funny as it is, and as much as I enjoyed it, and I probably will watch that again now because I haven't watched it since it was in the cinema.
Yeah.
But I think, like, I have rewatched Guardians a few times.
Yeah.
And I think just because of how good Guardians actually ended up being, and like as you said, it's in people's top 5 MCU films,
Yeah.
which nobody would have predicted.
No.
I think that edges it for me.
In all
Perfect.
fairness, for me, when I said blockers, as soon as I said it, I was like, I know it's not going to be winning. So I thought, it's at least getting a vote.
Yeah.
Well, that all comes down to Greg. Which way are you going here?
I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. The soundtrack for me is right up there with Forrest Gump and a couple others. Like the movie,
Gun.
Chris Pratt was brilliant. Fuck Top Gun. I hate that.
No, the
Stop
soundtrack.
hating
The
on Top
soundtrack.
Gun.
I'm just saying the
No.
soundtrack.
Even the film.
Oh, the soundtrack. Sorry,
And
the soundtrack. Soundtrack's okay.
And-
I never bought into the film.
We have another great soundtrack coming up in Rocky 3 as well. That's a soundtrack.
Yeah. Blockers, as I says, there's not many movies that I'll cry at from laughing so hard.
True.
I think Borat was one. I cried so hard I got sick in the cinema in Borat.
Oh Jesus! That had nothing to do with the heap of pints he'd had
I
before the
laughed
film.
so hard. Oh, I laughed so hard I got sick in the back of Bray Cinema.
Oh no.
I
Lovely.
literally got up and moved to the front row. I got up and moved to the front row.
Am I going to be surprised here right now?
Yeah,
I
The
think you
per cinema worker, man.
I'm gonna go with Blockers though. It's one that I'll
wow.
put on.
Wow.
Mm.
I'd always had I had the imagination that 2 years were gonna go with Guardians of the Galaxy,
Wow.
and that I wouldn't have even think. But for me, like I'd sit and watch Blockers again quicker than I'd watch Guardians of the Galaxy, because for me, if I'm gonna watch one of the MCU, I tend to go the whole way through it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So that we have a huge shock there now. Number
Yeah, that's a big upset there now.
number
did not
14
expect
taking out
that.
number 3.
I did not
Blockers
expect
taking
that.
out Guardians.
I
There's a
did not
shock.
expect that.
Damn, Greg, you've broken everybody's brackets here.
I've just blown this competition wide open.
You have. And to continue that, we'll start off with yourself, Ted. We have, speaking of Rocky 3, up against the Princess Bride. Hogan against Andre.
WrestleMania
yeah.
all over again.
We know how WrestleMania 3 went, don't we? And I think
No.
I think this might end
Princess
up going.
Bride is so much better than Rocky.
I love the Princess Bride, but I don't know that it's better than Rocky. Even
better than,
Rocky
okay, it's not
3.
better than Rocky, but it's better than Rocky 3.
even Rocky 3, I don't know if it's better than Rocky 3.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna go with Rocky 3. I love the Princess Bride, but I don't think it's better than Rocky.
Oh, this hurts me. That hurts me because I know what Greg is voting for, so it doesn't matter.
Do you want to play that game again, Carl? We'll see what
I know
happens.
you're voting for Rocky 3. I know that means the Princess Bride is gone.
I'm swinging
Put me out
balls
of-
here.
Put me out of my misery. Put me out of my misery. Go on.
I'll throw a few Clubber Lang right hooks here. No, Rocky 3. Rocky 3 is brilliant. That scene when Mickey dies is just pulls on the old heartstrings every time. Every single time. And
Perfect.
then the training with Apollo in Philly was just phenomenal.
Well, the soundtrack from that film is just great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
No,
It
to me, Rocky 3 is a better movie.
Oh, I vehemently disagree, but I'm not voting here, so I can't do anything about it. What about you, Matt?
I'm going to make you smile a little bit here.
Yeah.
Because we know Rocky's through. I'm going to give the vote to The Princess Bride. It deserves at least one vote.
It does. Definitely
Definitely.
deserves a vote.
It does. For me,
It does, but I don't think I could give it the first vote on the basis that it might have got through then, and I don't think it was better than Rocky.
No, if it was first vote for me, I would have gone Rocky 3 myself. But
yeah,
Princess Bride,
it's the nice thing about being last when it's already a done deal, isn't it? You can give your vote to the you can have it
if it deserves it.
Yeah.
Perfect. So this one's actually quite tough. We'll start off with yourself, Matt. You seem to be getting all the tough ones to start off with. We have The Longest Yard against They Live.
It's not actually that difficult for me, I don't think.
For me, it's not that difficult. I know where I'd be voting for.
It's not that difficult for me either.
For
If
me,
it was me voting, it might be shocking, but if it was me voting, I love The Longest Yard. That's where my vote would be going. I think it's a very, very funny film.
Oh.
I'm not a huge fan of They Live. I think it's really good, but Longest Yards, I prefer it than They Live.
For me, with
my vote.
With Longest Yard, there's that many versions of it.
This is the third version of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because Mean Machine was one, wasn't it, as well?
Yes. Yeah, so it was The Longest Yard and then Mean Machine and then Longest Yard.
Yeah.
But is Mean Machine not a remake of Mean Machine?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then there's 4 versions.
Yeah.
No, but they're different sports, you see, so it's okay.
Different sports, but
different sport, but exactly almost, the coach goes away, the coach gets...
Different sports. It's a different
But
film.
one
Different
has
shark.
Jason
It's a different
Statham
shark.
dancing with the football and loses it, and they concede a goal.
No, but it's a different shark.
It's a tough one because for me, I enjoyed The Longest Yard. I really, really did because there's so many iconic scenes. It's one of Carly was even quite funny in it as well. It's got a lot of good scenes in it, but They Live is it is massively iconic, and it's one. I remember first watching it and just seeing with the whole shade scene, the early signs. At first, when you watch it, you don't know what to expect, but then when you come down to it, it's like interesting. It just it, even though we probably this is a really old film, everyone's probably seen the ending. He's probably at the end he gets killed, but he's opened the world. He's opened the world's eyes to everything. For me, at the same time, I'm going to go with They Live for me, just for it's Roddy Piper. It's got the iconic line that is numerously repeated throughout multiple games. Duke Nukem even borrowed it and even tweaked it a little bit, if I'm not mistaken.
Duke Nukem
They
was
did the
an
same.
amazing game.
They said the same on. They did the same on. What was it? The IT crowd.
Yeah. But if I'm not mistaken, with IT Crowd, they also borrowed from Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones borrowed from them, actually. My mistake.
Right.
The infamous walk-off.
Yeah.
Out the window.
So that's one vote for They Live. Ted, what way are you going?
I have a feeling I know which way Greg's going to go here. So I'm going to give
You
the
would have thought
longest
I
yard a
went Guardians
lifeline.
of the Galaxy.
No, I didn't think you'd go Guardians of the Galaxy. I knew that you're not that big a fan of it. I'm going to give the longest yard a lifeline here because I do really enjoy the longest yard. I think it's actually very, very good. Better than I had a right to be honest. When I first seen it, I was kind of like, yeah, it'll be fine. I'll sit down, I'll watch it, it'll be fine. And then I was like, this was actually. I watched it because wrestlers were in it. Like that's basically what sold me on it. Oh, there's loads of wrestlers in that. I'll watch that. That's what sold it to me. Sat down, watched it, thought it was very good. So I'll give it a lifeline here, but I don't think it's going past here.
Well, there it is, Greg. You get the decision again. Which way is it going?
The longest yard for me was brilliant. Like some of the lines in it are hilarious. Remember when they're in the shower and Goldberg's there and he's like, "What is that?" And he told me to hit him, not kill him.
I made him shit his pants.
I think he shit himself.
Was Nelly played the running back, didn't he?
Yeah, Nelly's the running back.
Yeah.
Nelly's the running back.
That cast is insane. Like, what were they doing with some of those people?
Terry Crews,
Chris Rock,
Cheeseburger Eddie.
Got Cheeseburger Eddie, yeah.
Cheeseburger
Eddie.
I got these cheeseburgers.
You got to watch your McNuggets.
Yeah.
And then there's all of Sandler's usual crew is in there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Chris Rock, I only watched The Longest Yard there not so long ago. It was on the telly. You nearly forget Chris Rock dies in this movie.
Yeah.
He gets blown to sunder.
He does. By the villain, I can't remember his name. He's the villain from Warriors. Warriors come out to play. He's the guy that blows him up.
Little prick.
Yeah.
But as Matt said, they live. This movie was far ahead of its time for some of the messages that went through the movie.
Yeah.
The fight scene between Roddy Piper and I can't think of your man's name.
David.
Or David. Yeah. They battered each other for about 15 minutes. No, just brilliant. From once, it's another one of them movies like Predator where you don't know really what it's about, and then it just changes into a weird alien zombie kind of movie. I don't even know how you could describe them.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? What are they? Alien, zombie, weird infected people, weird faced skeleton things. I'm not sure. But for me, I think the longest yard has just came up short on 14 inches. It's going to be They Live.
They Live going through to the next round, right? And so the last one in this round, and we have Ted's to start it off. It's Walking Tall against Warrior.
As I said, like I loved Walking Tall. I thought it was really good for its time, but you know, it's coming up against a big hitter here, isn't it?
It
I mean,
is.
it's not Sharknado 2, but it'll do. You know, Warrior, I think it's a pretty clear-cut one, isn't it? You don't really need to go
Yeah.
too far into it.
Perfect. Greg, do you agree?
Yep.
And Matt,
All up.
nice and quick one.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. We're into the final 8. The final 8. And Greg, we're going to start off here with yourself. It's The Wrestler against Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
I think this is going to be another quick one as well. To be fair, I love Jumanji, but The Wrestler is my pick here.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. If I was voting, I mean, it's as good as Jumanji is. It's not as good as The Wrestler. What about
Yeah.
yourself, Matt?
It's got to be
just-
The Wrestler. Go on.
There, go on.
I was just going to say it's just a different type of movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not all drama based or comedy based wrestlers in it. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you pick
Yeah.
up an odd mismatch. Like Jumanji could have went far if it came up against the likes of The Longest Yard or whatnot.
Yeah.
It's true.
but
It's true.
The Wrestler, that's what the joys of this show does, though.
Mm.
It messes with
but
your
The Wrestler
head.
was brilliant.
The Wrestler was brilliant in the fact
So-
that it took you on literally almost like, you know, it's almost like you were watching it, but it's like our match is normally portrayed. It takes you on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
That's very
Yeah.
true.
And for me, The Wrestler is an amazing film. I'm definitely going to have to pick that straight off the bat. I can see it was, you know, Greg was right in what he said. It was going to be an easy one going through.
Perfect. And Ted, do you agree?
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Jumanji, because
Well,
Jumanji
it's down
is
to the
very,
last
very
8. It's down to the
Yeah.
last 8. You know, it's
it's unfortunate
gotten
that it comes
far.
up against
It's
something
done
like
well.
this. Yeah, it's done well, but I mean, it's unfortunate that the first kind of big name it comes up against is The Wrestler,
The Wrestler.
which, you know, it's just going to be it's going to take something special to beat The Wrestler, I think, and yeah, it's an easy enough
Agreed.
one. The Wrestler
I'm-
goes through.
I've got to feel I know what the penalty is going to be, and I don't know why.
So, Matt, we're gonna actually. This might be quite torturous for yourself, Matt. And I'm sorry for throwing this at you because it's Predator against Fighting with My Family. I never said the show was easy.
It never. It isn't.
Yeah.
You know, I've watched some of your previous stuff, and I've seen the pain on your faces when you come to a tough one.
Now you know why.
For me, it's one of them. It's like either way, I'm going to get shot by somebody. Either way, it's tough. It is really a tough one for me. It's Fighting with Family. Like I said, I could really be biased, unbiased and everything. But Predator was massively iconic, and for me, it's one I'll never forget. When most people think of Arnie first film, one of the films it says apart, included with Terminator, it's got loads of quotations. Get to the chopper,
Mark.
Mark. If it bleeds, we can kill it. Now, if I'm not mistaken,
Dylan.
there's and I've even heard that soundboard at a show with a wrestler with the first name of Dylan.
Nice.
Dylan.
It literally just goes, Dylan, you son of a, and music kicks in.
You son
That'd
of
be
a...
class.
It's genuinely, for me, it's really tough. And as much as I could be unbiased with this, I'm gonna have to go with Predator.
One vote for Predator. It's a good advertisement, all this, for our show coming up. But anyway, but
Yeah.
Ted, what about yourself? Which way are you going?
I think Matt should, he should look at his priorities. These are people he knows, and he's done them dirty. So, like, I'm gonna make sure that they're not done dirty here. I'm gonna give them a lifeline with fighting with my family and leave it for Greg.
The difference is,
You were first to say you couldn't do it.
No, the difference is for me is, at least with the fights with the family, them ones are a bit of a distance away, where the ones, if I disagree with Predator, I'll be shot on sight in the same household.
What happened? That white bench or whatever it is beside. Oh, it's a lamp, is it? Is it a lamp or is that a white bench?
No, this is actually me mic.
His mic.
Oh, it's your mic. Oh,
me arm.
All I could see was the back arm of it. No,
there you go.
I'm gonna say that'll get dropped on you in a minute.
I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. If it went the other way, it'd be one of them. I'd expect, just all of a sudden me just go missing.
Well,
like
so, Greg, you get the final decision here, Greg.
Like, you have to ask yourself, will fighting with my family still be relevant in 30 years? Probably not. Like, as good as it is, like, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing movie, right? And it was so well done. The Stephen Merchant and the really well with it. The actors and the actresses in it were fucking fantastic. Nick Frost was brilliant. As I said, Lena Headey already. Do you know what I mean? Vince Vaughn. But Predator has withstood 30 years now. Well, are coming up on 30 years now. And will probably stand the test of time for another 30.
It's true.
Predator, as I said in the last round, Predator is probably the best action movie of the 80s for me.
Not according to the Sherlock reel.
Vote here.
You need to put a disclaimer there.
Sherlock reel was wrong.
Oh, they weren't wrong.
Sherlock reel was wrong.
No, because
Die Hard.
It's Die Hard. Die Hard is Die Hard.
Big Trouble in Little China did not win that.
No.
Yeah, well, I did my best. I did my best to make it win. The boys bailed on me.
We did. No,
Perfect. So Predator.
As much as I
Predator true. Right. So that's the number 9 seed taking out the number 4 seed. And now we have the shock from the last round. And we'll start off with Ted. We have Blockers against Rocky 3. Cena against Hogan.
Oh, the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. Let me think. Rock beat Hogan. Cena beat Rock. Cena beats Hogan. Right? That's how this would work. No, like, listen, Rocky 3 is great, but if Rocky 3 had come up against Guardians, my choice would have been simple. I would have gone for Guardians. And if Blockers is good enough to knock out Guardians, it's good enough to knock out Rocky 3.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
I do like all the Rockies, I do enjoy them. And even though, they are all essentially the same film in terms of, it's a boxing film, they all have enough that they stand out. Like, unlike the Fast and Furious, where Fast and Furious don't really stand out from each other, all of the Rockies do stand out from each other, which is
you know what happens in each one. Yeah,
which is a real testament to the filmmaking of them, that they are so differentiating from each other. But yeah, if I had to put on, as you said earlier, Carl, if you're ranking the Rocky films, Rocky 3 probably isn't too high on the list. In comparison to a lot of the other ones, and Blockers, it was side-splittingly funny. So I'll give a vote to Blockers here.
Blockers 1 vote. Greg, you put us in this position instead of Guardians. So what way are you going here?
I'm gonna carry it on too. I'm gonna go with Blockers.
Blockers 2 votes. Blockers going through. Perfect.
And I'll be the nice guy and just pass the vote to Rocky. Just be let it happen.
Well,
Hogan's
I
taking
would have.
enough.
I would have given my vote to Rocky if you had went with blockers. If you were in before me, so it doesn't deserve
Perfect.
to go out 3-0 anyway.
No,
Well, I
no,
mean,
no,
I mean, as I said, Rock beat Hogan, Cena beat Rock,
no.
Cena beats Hogan.
Yeah. Storytelling at its finest.
Big Show.
Yeah.
Big Show beats Cena. Therefore, Big Show is king.
Yeah, so Captain Insano should have won the whole thing.
The water
And the
boy.
water boy didn't even make it in.
It's probably because it's too popular.
Yeah, too good, too good. It
It's
was like
too
when
good.
Space.
Here we go,
It was
lads.
like when Space Jam wasn't put into the sports one. It's because it would have won.
This is Sherlock real logic here, lads.
There we go. There we go. Matt, we've come to yourself here with They Live against Warrior.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
It is a tough one. That's a tough one. That is.
Yes.
I'm just trying to think. You know, it's one of them. It's like, do I go down the nostalgia route, or
The way to look at it is which one would you sit down and put on?
yeah. The problem is, I put them both on.
Both on, yeah. That's kind of the
That's
issue
the
here.
problem.
TVs.
You do realize I have actually got two TVs,
Yeah.
so I can actually do that. It's just, it's really difficult for me because it's like I said, like with They Live, it is that iconic line. It's got loads of it. It's got a lot of nostalgia, but at the same time, Warrior was absolutely phenomenal for how it was done, everything in it, the action scenes, the fight scenes. Like I said already, put you on the edge of your seat. As much as They Live, for me, it is an iconic fight scene, but it just, between the two of them, I feel as though clearly the Warrior one looked more like the more planned fight out of it.
True.
But it's tough. It's really tough. This one is because this one I'd say has been the hardest one so far for myself because both of them are really good. So, but I'm gonna have to go with the nostalgia because out of the two of them, I actually own They Live.
Okay, so one vote for They Live. Ted, what way do you go here?
I think They Live, as good as it is, and it was ahead of its time when it came out, like way ahead of its time. And in a sense, I'm kind of sorry that it didn't come out a little bit later when, like graphics and things that would be available to them would have been made available to them if it came out that little bit later. They could have improved certain little bits and pieces here and there, like visually. But I think the grittiness of it is part of what makes it so good. So maybe that wouldn't have worked. But the idea of how ahead of its time it is very powerful for that film. But I think Warrior was really, like, there's a reason Warrior is number 2. It's a monster of a film. So I'll give a vote to Warrior, but I'd be the same as Matt. I'd be happy with whichever one goes through here.
Yeah, it's tough.
It seems to come down to you a lot here
Big guy
tonight, Greg. you get the deciding vote here, Greg. Which one goes through?
And this one is a tough one.
Yeah.
Warrior was immense. And it kept you involved and intrigued in the movie right way through. And just off thing, how good was Nick Nolte in this movie?
Oh, absolutely unbelievable. I think you know the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When I first watched the film, I actually watched it on DVD. I watched the film even before the movie was over. I rewound and I watched that scene again. I just had to do it. It was such an incredible scene.
Yeah. And then the scene where he has Tom Hardy in the armbar or in the lock, and he breaks his shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh. And having dislocated my shoulder myself, every time I see it, I'm just like, ugh. But this is John Carpenter and They Live. This is Roddy Piper, and this is a classic.
Yeah.
The Warrior could, again, as I said in the last one, fighting with my family could fade away. The Warrior could fade away, and probably has kind of faded away a little bit in terms of 2011. You don't hear much about it anymore. They Live came out in the 80s and is still going strong. And I'm gonna go with They Live.
Oh wow.
It's just that nostalgia factor, isn't it?
It's not even I just love the movie. It's not even about the nostalgia factor. Like, I've probably watched Warrior more than I've watched They Live.
Yeah.
But They Live just has a stronger story, and as I said, it was well ahead of its time in the way they did it, and the way John Carpenter filmed it with what little CGI and things he had was just phenomenal. And I think overall it's probably a better movie.
We're down to the final four. Ted.
Yeah.
No.
Throw your vote here. It's The Wrestler against Predator.
The thing is that
this should have been the final.
Ouch.
The thing is that, like, one of the things that's really pushed The Wrestler through has been how it was such a different film to pretty much everything else in terms of, it was a look at the rest. The performances are great, but the actual film itself is it's a look at the behind the scenes that, in the back in the 80s, a film like this would never have been allowed to have been made.
Oh no. Too many secrets in the wrestling life then.
Yeah, not a chance.
No cameras in the back.
Yeah. The one thing with The Wrestler is that, and I don't know if everyone does this, but when I watch it, the person that Roddy the Ram always is, that's Jake the Snake.
Yes, yeah, that's what I think of myself.
That has to be, like, as far as I'm concerned, this story is basically based off Jake's life.
Except Jake's was probably worse.
Jake's is worse, but you weren't going to go that dark on a film, But the thing is that Predator has it's got its own unique spin to it as well. In that, as the lad said, it's very much a search and rescue mission that looks like it's gone wrong, and then it looks like it's gone even more wrong because now it's an alien that's hunting them, and then the way that they get around, the alien can only see if it sees your heat signature and stuff like that. Very smart and stuff for its time.
Yeah.
I think The Wrestler kind of, to an extent, saved Mickey Rourke as an actor, because I think he'd had a couple of kind of bum films before that.
He went to be a boxer
right back
beforehand.
Yeah.
He did, but I think even before,
brought him back to big time.
Yeah, I think before that he'd had a couple of dud films behind him.
True. But he hasn't really done anything since as well. But that's not his fault. This was just
Iron Man.
He had a brief appearance in Expendables.
Yeah, he's had bits and pieces and things, but he hasn't been a lead role in anything since this.
He was robbed. He was robbed in this film as well. He should not. He should have won the best actor for this instead of Sean Penn.
Yeah, he probably should have. But Predator is something special. That's 30 years on, and it's still as iconic as it would have been back then. I think I'm going to give the nod to Predator on this one. This is the toughest one I think so far. And it was always going to be. Getting down to these films, when you get into these semi-finals, it's very rare that something has managed to look its way through the whole way.
Yeah.
But that's not the case here. Both of these deserve to be here. They both deserve to go through, but unfortunately, only one can. I'd probably sit down and watch Predator over Wrestler myself. So I'll give a vote to Predator.
Right. My fears are. I might be coming through here. Greg, which way are you going here?
I'll see you next week, boys. We're gonna run into the final.
Oh,
To me,
it's not just,
as it
this
says,
show's not just advertisement for recast, lads. It's not just advertisement for recast.
I didn't even think
No,
of
no.
that when I was voting. It's just this is what I do.
No, for me, Predator is the iconic movie here. If you ask someone to name a Mickey Rourke movie and name an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, right? Which one are they going to give you first out of a list? Do you know what I mean?
Today, if you ask people today, people are going to like, who the hell is Mickey Rourke?
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? One movie can make you, but Predator again has withstood this the time. Both
True,
of
but
them are dark.
saying that,
like
if you ask 100 people, name an Arnie movie, they're not naming Predator first. They're naming Terminator first.
They'll name
Possibly, yeah.
Terminator, and then I guarantee you, if you ask them to name 3 movies, right?
Yeah, Predator
Out
would
of
be there.
100
Yes.
people,
Yeah.
I'd say at least 90% of them will say Predator in one of 3. And normally
True.
it'll go Terminator 1, Terminator 2. You know what I mean?
True, but they're
Uh,
definitely
you
saying
could get
Terminator first.
you could get Jingle All the Way, but sure, look, that's a story
classic.
for a different time.
Classic. Classic.
But like, to be fair,
Turbo
that must
Man.
tell you something, though. That must tell you
With
how
Big Show in
good
it.
Terminator really was.
Captain Insano.
You know what I mean? That tells you how good Terminator is. But Predator is probably one of the iconic movies that have come out in the last 50 years.
You're breaking my heart, man.
The
You're
wrestler,
breaking my heart.
the wrestler is very, very good. And yeah, you're right. Mickey Rourke was robbed. But like,
Yeah.
let's be fair, Arnie was never going to win an Oscar for a movie like that. That movie,
He should.
the movies that Arnie
He
was
should
in,
have.
Yeah.
no, but like the movies Arnie's in are never going to win an Oscar.
Oh no,
Arguably,
God no.
The movie that arguably the movie that he does the most acting in is probably End of Days. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He's not the type of. He's not an Oscar guy, really.
He's not an Oscar guy. And when's the last time you've seen someone that big, muscle wise, win an Oscar? Do you know what I mean?
Good point.
There is a type of actor that wins Oscars, and Arnie isn't it. As it says before in episodes of Retrotainment, if you're a certain actor and you fit a certain role, why not just keep going to the well and making your money from it? Do you know what I mean? He's 70 odd now and he's still doing it. Do you know what I mean?
True.
Mickey Rourke has fallen away into obscurity, really.
Yeah.
Which is it's no thing, like The Wrestler's a great movie. It's just reached its limit here and it's come up against Predator, and Predator is Predator.
Oh, you're breaking my heart. This is all for an advertisement, lads. All for an advertisement.
It's genuinely not. On my end, it wasn't. It might be on Greg's. On mine, it wasn't.
I put the Predator
breaking
through
my heart.
I put the Predator through every round, lads. Do you know what I mean? I put the Predator through every round. It's nothing to do with next week's show. The movie's just a clap.
What about yourself, Matt? What way would you have gone?
It's hard to. I can't even say. To be honest with you, I'm so glad I can.
That didn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to pass my votes over to the wrestler.
Nice and easy, yeah. That's the way to do it.
Nice and easy. But for me, I wouldn't even know where to even begin with that one because for me, I would be massively conflicted with the fact that I also wrestle as well.
Yeah.
On top of it, and The Predator is, like you said, a massively iconic film, and it has stood the test of time at the same time. So it could have gone either way for me, genuinely, but I wouldn't even know where you even begin. this would have been. I honestly thought this would have been a final.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
well. See,
if
that's
it
the
was-
unfortunate
if the
bit.
draw
They
was
just got
right, it would have been.
wrong side of the bracket for both of them, sort
Well,
of thing.
well, Predator was ranked 9. Wrestler was ranked 1. They both fell on the same side of the bracket. I thought it would be the Wrestler and Warrior in the final. I thought they were destined
I
for it.
thought. A part of me at one point thought it was either going to be the Wrestler and Fight with My Family.
That's what I thought it was going to come down to, but
Yeah.
Well, they would have met up here. They would have met up here in the semis.
Yeah.
I think I would have gone for Fighting with My Family if it came up against
Oh,
the Wrestler
really?
as well. Yeah, I really love that film. I voted it against Predator as well. Like so.
That's true. This is true. Right, so we move on to the next semi-final, and we move on to Greg. You'll vote first.
Not giving me the
It's
deciding vote,
blockers.
lads. No.
Oh no!
Blockers versus They Live.
I've just got this.
Not giving
I've
me
just
the-
got this gut feeling because I just realised the last one's going to be me starting, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Welcome to the show, bud.
Oof.
It's the most enjoyable, infuriating 2.5 hours of your life. This show.
What way are you going, Greg?
Here we go
It's a
again.
tough one.
I've made my feelings known about both of these, but I'm going with They Live.
They Live.
Yeah.
One vote for They Live. Matt.
As much as Blockers is really, really funny and side-splittingly funny, They Live has been around for many, many years. It's Piper. It's got a quote that is stood the test of time and is being used repeatedly in games, and not just one game series, if I'm not mistaken. It's been used in Saints Row as well.
Probably.
And South Park even borrowed from it as well.
That's
Well,
an iconic line.
South Park have taken everything, so
Yeah.
I just didn't expect them to borrow from it the way they did.
yeah, the way they did was very good. To be fair, yeah.
But I'm gonna go with They Live.
They Live. And is it a 3-0 in the semi-finals?
No, I won't see Blockers get knocked out without a vote. I'll give Blockers a vote.
This is gonna hurt. This next one's I know it's gonna hurt.
Perfect. So we move on to the finals. It is. We move into the finals.
Potentially.
And Matt,
Yeah, I know what's coming.
it's Predator
Yeah.
versus They Live. Lads, we're back in the 80s. We're back in the 80s. We have Jesse the Body Ventura up against Hot Rod Roddy Piper.
Who won in those matches?
I don't think they ever did.
Everybody.
They ever actually match?
No, I don't think so. That's why I
They're both
asked.
heels.
Yeah.
They're both famous for being heels.
True. Very true. Would have been a
Who
good
would-
match.
Good ones at that.
That would have been a great match. The weird thing about it is, who would have thought that two 80s heels would have got to the final?
Yeah, no, I can genuinely say if you were to put money on it, I would not have put these two movies in the finals.
No.
You know, looking at the start of it, I wouldn't have put these two here. So we have ranked number 9 up against number 11.
Close ranked as well.
Yeah,
This one is a tough one. It's before we even got into this round, I knew what was coming. I saw it good. I was like,
It's nothing worse.
"This is what."
There's nothing worse than when you know it's coming.
Yeah,
When you've worked it out and you're like, oh no.
as soon as we went into the semi-final, I was like, "Oh no, I know what's coming." I knew what was coming straight away. Both of them iconic, both of them absolutely brilliant, and they both stood the test of time.
both very quotable.
Both massively quotable. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and only one of them ended up attempting to continue the storyline.
Yeah, I don't think this
I
is
love
They
how
Live
you said
2.
attempting.
What?
I love how you said
like how-
attempting.
Oh, two wasn't as good as the first.
2 wasn't bad.
Two-
though.
No.
Oh no,
It
no,
it wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything on. It wasn't a
it
patch
wasn't.
on.
Then
3,
we've
4,
also
5,
got.
6, 7.
Then you've also got the Predators, which I also
Predators.
thought,
Adrian Brody.
which
Yeah.
I thought, I honestly thought that was going to be a remake, but glad it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then we got the one that followed that. Ooh.
There's another one coming out now that's like
It's a TV series,
Skull.
isn't it?
Skull, which is going to
No,
be
it's-
like how the Predators came to
Earth the first
to be
time.
on Earth in the first place at all. So that could be
Ooh.
interesting.
That could be
It's gonna
interesting.
be it's gonna be set back in times.
It's just, I just remember when Predators was coming out. Predators, a lot of people were quite livid that they were even. It was
Being
possibly
remade. Yeah.
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 You know, a lot of people were sitting there saying it's being remade, and when you actually watch the film, and he ends up quoting Dutch, ends up quoting him and mention it, this happened. It's like, so it's not a remake.
Yeah.
Soft
They
reboot.
never outright.
We go with
said
a
it
hard
wasn't.
reboot.
Yeah,
Like Jumanji. It's a hard reboot.
but it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
It's weird. They Live is massively iconic and has been borrowed in games and everything, but like I said, Predator is also iconic, been massive borrowed. And if I was gonna have to pick, I'm gonna go down the route of the one I saw first, Predator.
One vote for Predator.
You must be
Greg.
loving this. You must be
I'm sorry.
loving this, haven't you?
Ted. Ted.
Listen, the thing is, like, they both are iconic in their own sense, but the truth of the matter is that if you went out and you asked 100 people, random
Yeah.
people on the street,
Yeah.
you ever seen Predator? Yeah. You ever seen They Live? No. A lot of people won't have even heard of They Live in comparison to Predator.
Yeah.
And that is the truth of the matter. As good as They Live is, They Live is kind of more of a bit of a cult classic in a sense, whereas Predator is the box office. It's like the box office out of these two, and I think that kind of settles it, really, doesn't it? I think They Live, it like if we'd set out some ground rules earlier in it, They Live's main character is a wrestler, so that should give it the edge over Predator, because Predator's main character isn't a wrestler.
That's why
But
I didn't want the
exactly.
wrestler's performance. I wanted the film.
Exactly.
That's
which is what I saw straight away myself.
Yeah. Which is what I was going to say. If we'd set out that ground rule, then obviously They Live would win. But Predator wouldn't even have got this far if that was the ground rule, because it's come up against things where it's not the case. As a film, Predator is just, it's right up there as one of the all-time greats. And as much as I enjoy They Live, I don't think They Live's going to be making it into many people's all-time great lists. Like, what's your top 10 films? Is They Live going to break into anyone's top 10 films of all time? Predator will break into people's. I don't know that They Live would.
I might know one.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, every film's eventually going to break into someone's top 10 somewhere, but the one that breaks into most people's top 10 is the one that would really be considered the top 10, and that is Predator.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's an easy enough one here. Predator's going to walk through here on this.
Perfect. And is it a 3-0 in the final, Greg?
My vote would have went to Predator if it had went 1-1. I can't let They Live go out like that. Predator is by far the better movie. But do you know what? It will be a 3-0 in the final. I can't. I'm trying to justify giving They Live a vote here against it. But
you'd be giving it a vote for the sake of enjoying the film rather than it being a better film. I
love the movie, but Predator is probably the best movie on that list.
I would
my opinion,
disagree.
anyway.
I would disagree. I would go down to The Wrestler would be the best film on the list, but I wasn't voting today. So
This is that thing that we have, though, right? The Wrestler was a movie that was made to make it look like an Oscar-worthy movie.
yeah, it's
Do you know what I mean?
It's not
Yeah.
even
There's
that.
certain films, it's the way it's
It's
filmed.
not even that though. I don't think. I think the wrestler, even if it wasn't trying to be an Oscar film, is very, very good.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
there's no doubt to that. There is no doubt to that.
I think the nostalgia of Predator and the longevity of Predator has helped it in certain ways against things like that. Whereas people are like, 30 years from now, will I remember the wrestler? Probably not. 30 years from now, the Predator is already 30 years from now and it's already still remembered. So you've already got that, you know?
true. So
Well,
there we have it. There we have it, lads. The Sherlock Reel winner of Wrestlers in Movies goes to Jesse the Body Ventura in Predator. It's been
The
a difficult road,
It's
but
unique.
and I swear, lads, as we're saying goodbye, Predator. It's not this wasn't an advertisement for the upcoming Sherlock Reel that's coming out on this Thursday on Retrotainment Recast on the Dynamo Podcast Network, which me, Ted, and Greg are all part of. For Retrotainment Recasts. Ted, do you have anything else coming up?
Yeah, tomorrow we have our Retrotainment show coming out. Going into August, we've decided to go with action films here. So it'll be 4 action films, one for each day or one for each week of August.
Five, isn't it?
4 in August.
4. Oh,
Yeah, 4 for
sorry,
August. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and Greg.
What he said.
Yeah, 2 p.m. tomorrow
Action
on the
August
Dynamo
starts tomorrow.
Podcast. Yeah, 2 p.m.
Action
on the
August,
Dynamo
perfect.
Podcast Network tomorrow.
Perfect. And Matt, anything coming up yourself?
For myself, I've got we've got the Burning Truth vlog that comes out tomorrow. That is normally split between me and my co-host, James Irvine, which is on the website of the Burning Truth. We've also got the weekly broadcast that we do, which is just audio, where we just talk all things wrestling, of current things, current news, and everything, and also putting our own little spin on it. But we also talk we also have a bit of madness in that as well.
Perfect.
Especially with the fact that it's wrestling.
Of course. Of course.
A lot of people sit there and say, we've had people saying to us, make it really serious. Some people take it too serious, some people not take it too serious. And for the ones that don't take it, that don't take it too serious, wrestling, you can get hurt. For the ones that do take it too serious, it's grown men in tights.
Very true. Very true.
But for myself, it's like at the moment, as you can probably see, I've got UK Way on the name. At the moment, currently trying to arrange a show sometime later in the year. So for the UK Way and with the Burning Truth, the website is www.theburningtruthuk.com, where we've actually got a long list of episodes and interviews with wrestlers.
Excellent. Well, be sure to check all that out. We'll be back here now in 2 weeks for another King of the Ring tournament with a different topic. It hasn't been decided on yet, but be sure to tune in, and be sure to tune in to Retrotainment Recast on Thursday, where I'll be there as well. Thanks to everyone for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Slot.